We are in the room where it happens with Secretary of State Walter Mosley. You've been in this role since May. Tell us about how you got here.
Well, as many of your viewers may or may not know, I was in public service before coming into the Department of State. And during that time of transitioning, the governor asked me to serve our state in a greater and larger capacity. And I was honored to even be considered. And after talking to my family and some of my close friends, I accepted it. I was humbled by the process. I was humbled that she would even think to have the wherewithal to think of me, to ask me to become the next Secretary of State. There are not too many people who served in the Secretary's position. So we take it very seriously, but I'm also very honored. The lineage of New Yorkers that have served this office through the many decades is beyond reproach.
Now, I know you work with business licensing, you deal with consumer affairs, you deal with complaints.
Right.
How do you work with other government agencies as the Secretary of State?
Well, the Secretary of State is a huge agency. We have over 650 employees. We have agencies within agencies, but we also work with Housing and Community Renewal. We work with ESD, we work with DEC. We work with we work with parks. We work with a number of agencies, councils that we sit on, commissions that I co-chair. So it is a wide array of entities in the public sector, as well as in the kind of the quasi-public sector.
Tell us more about the quasi-public sector. So that means the private sector comes in there too?
Well, I would say like the commission. So for instance, we just recently rolled out the African American Historical Commission and the recommendations that were made by that body, and what we're going to be doing in terms of integrating how African Americans and Black Americans have contributed to the history and the evolution of our great state. Likewise, we will take some of those recommendations and integrate them into public policy, and how we can break down some of the barriers, some of the systemic issues that have permeated throughout our state and have really been entrenched public policies that have been barriers and hurdles for certain segments of our community. So that's like a key example. The Bicentennial Commission, which will celebrate next year the bicentennial celebration anniversary of the Erie Canal, which, as many of you viewers may or may not know, is the birth, we call it the birth of cities. Okay. Whether we're talking about Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, these are cities that really came about because of the use of the Erie Canal and the commerce and the business that was created up there, which attracted a lot of immigrants from the city to move upstate. So those are like things that people don't know that I take part in, but are just as important.
What do you want people to know about the role of the Secretary of State and maybe how it's evolving as we go into 2025?
Well, there's a lot of departments that are under our control, whether it's the Athletic Commission, whether it's Consumer Protection, whether it's Department of Planning and Community Infrastructure, which deals with economic development initiatives, creating affordable housing, preserving our coastal lands, preserving our parks, and we do this in conjunction with other agencies. But what I want them to kind of get from me is that there is probably nothing in the state that we don't directly or indirectly get involved with, whether it's building affordable housing, whether it's talking about infrastructure, whether it's talking about preserving or conserving our ecosystems. It's really something that I take pride in, having an array of knowledge and a growing knowledge base, and then having a staff that's really a bunch of professionals that I rely upon each and every day.
With all those agencies and everything you touch, how do you keep track of everything?
Well, I got a great staff. I got some great depth secs, I got great communication folks, and then I got some great cabinet members that I work with on a daily basis. So you never do this in a silo. You can't. But when you have people who help to onboard you in a way that's professional, is sustainable, and is respectful, we can do so much more. So we're continuing to work. We're continuing to get the message out, because that's one of my main jobs, is to be around the state, making sure people understand what the Department of State does on a daily basis and how Department of State's initiatives impact New Yorkers.
Yeah, so one of the events I just came from in Albany was the Digital Government Summit.
Correct.
Where we talked about how technology moves so fast and government moves so slow. With your office overseeing these different facets and licensing and businesses and consumer protections, how can you incorporate advanced technologies to assist you with the Department of State?
Well, over the past several months, the Department of State has made it an effort to streamline our process, integrate our technological tools to make things more streamlined in terms of us being able to use the technology to make sure that we speed up the process. Our motto is opportunity starts here, but really it starts where our consumers and our New Yorkers stand. And if they're standing in front of a computer, we don't want them to have to come down to Lower Manhattan or to any of our other satellite offices to conduct business. We prefer for them to utilize the tools that they use on a daily basis, as well as making sure that if they want, they have the option to come down. So we understand that there's a careful balance. We know that there's some people who are more astute to using technology and some that aren't. So what we don't want to do is exclude one group over another because we want to utilize technology, but we understand that times change and people's, their habits change. And we're so happy that we've streamlined our certification for new businesses. We streamlined our process for having notaries be put in place. And now that we've done that and closed the gap in terms of the number of days it takes to get all those licenses applied and handed out, now we're looking at artificial intelligence and how that will be the next step, given the state's investment in artificial intelligence at the university level, as well as working with companies like Micron and the like. So we're looking forward to that next phase of providing a more efficient service.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned AI, artificial intelligence, because that came up at the summit also. There are some people who are looking forward to using it and some people that are a little more hesitant. What would you say to those people that are hesitant, specifically in government, that are hesitant to use AI?
Well, I think it's just a matter of just being open-minded, understanding that we're not going to find all of the answers within the four walls of government, that we're going to have to reach out to our private sector partners. We're going to reach out to our innovators. We're going to reach out to our universities at the student and community level, and we're making the investment to develop the supercomputers at RIT or the University of Diversity School System in the state of New York and that AI initiative. It's only appropriate that whatever outcomes they come up with, whatever innovative ideas and applications, that we're in a position to utilize them in real time. It's one thing to make the investment, but it's another thing to actually take that investment, find the solutions, and then apply it to what we do in government. So it's a one hand washes the other type of initiative. But I think that the government has put together a great cabinet of forward-thinking members and people who understand that we can't always stay in place. We have to move forward if we're going to continue to strive for the perfect solutions or the close to perfect solutions for the people we serve on a daily basis.